So here we are. It is March 12th. And if you're a Pittsburgh fan, what is going on with football right now? Eric, they sent us Russell Wilson. We didn't want him. We really didn't. If you look at any of the stuff, we wanted him sent back to Seattle. You could have kept him. And now they're talking about bringing Aaron Rodgers. I was saying I'm a little old. I went to school for nursing in the dark ages in 1990. These guys are like Geritol. We could do a Geritol commercial on the field, right? Welcome to Feeding Our Young.
Welcome back to the second part of the Lisamarie experience. Yes, I did leave out her last name, her surname, because I'm not butchering that. So, long story short, my first of all, apologies to Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, anyone who might be up there in age and still playing professional sports. If you happened to stumble upon our little podcast and happened to listen to that exact 2 minutes, 1 minute of intro, I mean, we respect you. We just, it's time to move on. We love you guys. Go. Enjoy the money. Enjoy your life. Anyway, okay. Enough about that. I'm going to get I don't know. It'd be great if I don't know. Would I be upset if they wrote me and said, cease and desist? Like if I get a cease and desist from their attorneys? Or would I actually be excited about that because they heard this podcast, right? Like,
it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that. They'll be like, "Oh, Lisamarie and Eric, we're gonna find them." And anyway,
exactly.
Nothing against you, but anyway, we're just gonna leave it where it is. I liked Russell Wilson, the guy, and he gets a bad rep for certain things that he shouldn't get a bad rep for, and then he gets too much credit where he doesn't deserve it. But that's what we think of all the professional athletes and public figures, right? Okay. So enough about that. Let's just jump right into because I know there's a lot more to talk about as far as you and your life, and I want to jump right in. But before we do that, there was one question that you had answered on the little forum I sent you, and I really loved your answer to that. So I'd like to know, leading the witness, Lisamarie, do you have any regrets?
And my answer is always the same. I have tried to live my life that I would not have any regrets, and looking back on my many years, as we established, the only regret I have is, trying to cram that square peg into the round hole. And I think as nurses, we want to fix people. And, even at our, the expense of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't want to say wasted a lot of years because, life brings you everything. It brings you your experience, even in bad times. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy to say I'm lucky enough. I feel like I refer to this now probably as Act 5. As you go through life, my first nursing career, first marriage, have amazing kids. And I recognized during that time that I needed more. And I was giving a lot of myself up. And now, fast forward to everything I've done. I mean, from my mid-40s, I finished my bachelor's, got my master's, worked on a PhD, had 8 amazing years as a nurse practitioner, or 10 amazing years as a nurse practitioner in internal medicine, geriatric psychiatry, and to be lucky enough to have started my own practice a year ago. Again, that is something that was, I don't know, like kind of crazy as a nurse practitioner to be like, okay, I have my own practice. I mean, there's a lot, especially in the states I'm in and licensed in, there's a lot to do, to get that in order. But I wish I had maybe 10 years of the 20 I spent, in a marriage, just because you make that commitment, you have the kids and all the reasons you stay. Yeah. So, and I laugh, I say I started to live my life in my 40s, and it's been awesome. I have an
Yeah.
amazing husband. We've got 5 amazing kids, couple grandkids, and
Oh,
I'm literally living my passion. So now, have to stay healthy because I need to live long and prosper, Spock.
yeah. And to enjoy this period of life, right? Like that's the,
Exactly.
I always say, I've said it before. You go to work. How you doing, Bob? How you doing, Sue? How you doing? Whatever. And a lot of people, what do they respond with? Well, I'm living the dream, and it's usually with a very sarcastic undertone and all things. But legitimately, like it took me 40 plus years to live my best life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Personal life, professional life, and all the things. I don't have, I can't say that I echo kind of what your life, that
Yeah.
parallel. But just the fact that it's like, oh man, again, they say the things you wish you knew 20 years ago, but it would have been wasted on you 20 years ago because 20 years ago you wouldn't have listened to what you had to say, even if it came from you. So it's like,
Exactly.
so you touch on, and very briefly or not very briefly, it's up to you. You've already kind of touched on those challenges that you faced in life, and I want to shine the light on that just for a moment between your cancer diagnosis, that rough marriage. I don't know if there's anything you necessarily want to expound on those things, but more importantly, those are obviously huge personal challenges. How do you, Lisamarie, how did you navigate those challenges?
Probably, the cancer is one thing. You just kind of deal with it and push through. And that was unique because I found out I was pregnant the day after I got the cancer diagnosis. So
Oh,
that and again, I think this is what made me question a lot of, it made me, look at alternative medicine, functional medicine, and the bigger picture because I was told by 3 different surgeons to terminate the pregnancy because I was 23. I was young, I could have more kids. And I said, okay, what's the research? What's going to happen? Will this baby have 3 heads?
yeah,
What are we
yeah,
looking at?
yeah.
And they said, nope, spontaneous abortion. The baby just won't survive the pregnancy. I said, okay, that was an easy decision for me to make. It wasn't my decision.
Yeah.
So we just, whatever you believe in, God, higher power, whatever, put it in their hands. And I'm happy to say that is my 32-year-old daughter who I have,
Wow.
2 grandchildren with. So
Wow.
a lot of that, to answer your question, is just really kind of just having faith. You make the best decision that you can make at that time. And because I also had 3 different treatment plan options, one very conservative, one very drastic, and one middle of the road. And because I was pregnant, because they couldn't do radiation until, they waited until my second trimester to do the surgery, then waited until I delivered, and 6 weeks, I could nurse it for 6 weeks, and then they would radiate me. So, and
Wow.
because it was metastatic, I was like, I just want this stuff out of me.
Yeah.
So I went for the more drastic surgery. They severed my long thoracic nerve, and I ended up having horrific shoulder injury because of
Oh,
that. But I'm happy to say I got some treatment this past year, and I'm back to golfing yesterday. Yes, so I'm very happy
this year.
this year. Yes, it took 30 years for the muscles to waste away,
Yeah.
and for me to lose, you know, pretty much most of the use of my left arm. But yeah, but it all came back. So it's amazing. So do your research because
Wow.
that's kind of, why you go down all these different rabbit holes. And my big thing for researching, because there are so many different things out there. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was, you just have to stumble through and make the decisions that are best for you at the time. Do
Yeah.
I regret that my shoulder's a mess? Yes, but living like, without total fear that, oh, I still have cancer. It's still there. They didn't get it all. So, and I say to people all the time, health decisions, that's why we need, as nurses, as educators, I think we're as much educators as we are nurses and caregivers.
Yeah.
And our job is to present all the information that we have available to us and explain. So people need to be empowered to make their own decision for their health at the moment. And it might not be the same decision. You're going to have 5 people and you might have 5 different decisions, but that should be their right to decide what's the best course of action for them. And, and then the marriage thing, again, you take the good, you take what you learn from it, and you move on.
Yeah.
And, just, and again, I think no hard feelings for anything and anyone.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And you can't carry that burden, because it's worse for you to carry the negative emotions and the negative feelings. That takes up space. So, and I saw it doing, geriatric psych. I was doing nursing home geriatric psych during COVID. And you can sweep some things under the rug for a time, but you reach a certain age where all of that stuff just comes flying back. So you have to deal with things at some point in your life. Otherwise, it just eats away at you.
And that's in the form of emotionally as well as physically. Like there's research out there that shows, those stressors, those everything comes out in a physical manifestation. And I mean, there may be some 20-somethings right now going, yeah, I know, I've felt that. You know what I mean? It's a real thing. I'll never forget my grandma, God bless her. One of the 2 greatest heroes in my life. And I'll never forget, we're sitting at the table. And I mean, I was like, I don't know, mid-late teens. And we're talking about stress and, all the things. This kind of entered the vernacular of the public consciousness. And she was very much like, well, in my day, we didn't have stress. You just did it. You just did the things, and you don't, living through the Great Depression and all of that.
Yes.
It wasn't this whole, but we recognize stress for what it is. And, it's definitely, there's some physical manifestations that can happen there of the things that you're going through. So nursing students going through nursing school.
100%.
Get those hobbies that Lisamarie was talking about, carve some time out. We've had plenty of honored guests that said, don't forsake those things. Don't just cocoon in the, in the world of nursing students studying and I have to get straight A's and no. B is for balance. Go back.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
There's a fantastic educator, previous honored guest. That's B is for balance. And that's what she learned it. She's like, I espouse that. So now we're just going to pass it on. So with that, Lisamarie, thank you. And all of that, so inspiring. Like, I feel like we just could have ended right there. Like, you know what I mean? Just what you've been through. And also the fact that I'm not talking to this bitter, cantankerous nurse, A, because of, nurse experience over the years, and B, because of life experience. And those things have a tendency, like you said, to build, stack, and maybe turn us into a version of ourselves that we never envisioned ourselves being or wanted to be. So thank you for modeling that and for describing that and talking about that. So with the remaining time we have, I just kind of want to, partially because, man, I'm tired. I'm just going to go lay down in the back. I'm going to mute my mic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Lisamarie portion of the, no, but you take control here. We want to hear about your career. You kind of touched on your career progression, but for the sake of us type A, timeline people, if you want to take us down that road, like for nursing students, man, okay, I'm going to be a XYZ nurse and I'm going to be that for my entire career. That was me. I'm going to be peds oncology nurse my entire career, and I'm going to work nights my entire career. Guess what 2 things I'm not doing these days? I'm working nights or in peds oncology. So tell us about your career progression. And then that, of course, is going to naturally feed into what you are doing. I'm so excited for this part. Tell us about your ventures. You said you've had your own practice for a year. You're chasing your PhD. What, as I understand, you're a bit of an entrepreneur. So tell us more about that as well. So we want to hear past, present, and future Lisamarie, the professional.
All right. Well, first, I want to just touch on you mentioning the cantankerous nurse.
Yes.
And I have seen many of them. And I will say that I have always loved being a nurse from day one. I have loved it. One of the reasons I love it so much is because, as I mentioned before, there's always room. If you're bored, go to something else. Try travel nursing, try this. There is enough to keep you motivated and enriched, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get stuck. I think the cantankerous comes from when you are just stuck in the grind. You know what? When you get in that comfort zone, it's boring. It's really boring, and you get cranky and stale. So nursing allows you to move around and learn and expand your knowledge base.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how you can fight that. But to that point, maybe that's why I'm not a cantankerous old nurse.
There you go.
So I've always, again, because of my personal health issues, and then in my 30s, dealing with hormonal issues, and I kind of didn't like being put in the box of, oh, well, you need this pill or you need this because this is your problem. And I was like, I don't like, don't even tell me, oh, this is what we do for everybody who has that problem.
Yeah, because everybody's the same. Everybody's the same.
Exactly. I'm not everybody. So I sought a lot of holistic and traditional medicine throughout my personal life. And then as I was going through the geriatric psych, my youngest patient was 19 years old when I first started seeing her. And she ended up in a nursing home because she was 600 pounds and didn't recover from an illness. And at 21, the last time I saw her, she was 21 before I left that job. And I thought, and I loved her. She was just adorable. She was the sweetest thing. She had lost a couple 100 pounds, but because she had so many issues, because of the obesity, she had a lot of eczema, horrific psoriasis, sores all over her body, and she refused to get out of bed. And again, that's her right. We can't force her to get out of bed. Now, in my day, the dark ages, right? But we didn't do her any service because this poor girl, 21 years old, and I'm getting all emotional here because I'd go to see her and she's younger than our youngest kids. And I'm thinking, this poor girl has no life. And I don't want to say she didn't understand, but I don't think she understood the severity of it because her muscle wasting was so bad. The most she was getting was up in her electric wheelchair to sit outside. She's 21 years old. So that kind of really pushed me professionally into saying, okay, well, I'm not old enough to retire. I'm going to be working, for at least 10 more years. And I needed to really be able to feel good about what I was doing rather than being the quote unquote pill pusher that I was called many times by some old cantankerous patients. That's what I did. I was the medication manager. I didn't do therapy. I made sure, everyone's medication was okay. And it just, I don't know. I needed more. I needed to be more than the pill pusher. So, actually, 10 years ago, I thought about getting a, IFM or whatever, any functional medicine specialty out there. And I just jumped in. And I think it was a conversation with our youngest daughter one day last year that she was having major issues at 26. And I'm like, we have to find you a functional medicine specialist. And my opinion is that, and I would say to every one of my patients who asked me questions about it, in traditional medicine, I would say they're kind of like snake oil salesmen. You have to find a good one. Some just want to, put you on supplements and not really know what's going on, but you need to find a good one. Yeah. So I guess I sought out to be a good one. So, and last year I worked in my very intensive one-on-one program. I pretty much worked with patients for 5 to 6 months. And I kind of like you said, oh, I just want to, it's all about hormone balance. It's all about hormone balance. That's how I started my practice. And what I realized was if your gut health isn't in line, then you're never going to be able to maintain weight loss, even if you lose weight with extreme measures, and you're never going to be able to maintain that hormone balance. So again, you have to learn and pivot when you know better, you do better, right?
Yeah.
So throughout creating that practice, I kind of came up with my unique process I created a lab panel that gives me a really good look. And, it amazes me how inexpensive blood labs are when your insurance isn't paying for them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately. Yes.
With a CBC and diff for $2.80 or maybe $3.20, I can find out so much, and
wow.
it now kind of amazes me, and like what our normal values were in traditional medicine. I'm looking to find a disease 10 years before it happens, at least in functional medicine.
Yeah.
So, and again, for people who aren't familiar, functional medicine is, we specialize in root cause. We like unpack the suitcase and figure out what's causing the high blood pressure, figure out what's causing the kidney issues. And again, I say 50 hit me like a brick wall. I was diagnosed with primary glomerulonephritis in my 50s.
Oof.
And it took them 7 years to still not give me any answers, and couldn't figure anything out. We were just waiting and waiting for my kidney functions to, fall off the cliff.
Oh.
And I became my own first patient last year and did a functional medicine gut test that I do with most of my patients. And I had an overgrowth of 2 bacteria that are directly related to chronic kidney disease.
Really?
And I'm happy to say now that after a year of there are no quick fixes in functional medicine.
Yeah.
And I have reversed, and my primary symptom has been gone now for months, and my blood work is all normal. So it's kind of crazy when you start doing the deep dive into things. But so functional medicine can be holistic, but functional and integrative medicine is, I take the best of both worlds, and I say I have a lot of tools in my tool belt, and we use them when necessary. So I use food first, supplements when we need them, because there's nothing I hate more than people who are just taking supplements because they heard they were good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a way to use them. They should be used with intent and rotating in and out for a certain purpose. And, then we use my prescription pad when it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to be able to do that. And really, I started off with some really unhealthy people. And I think because of that, I'm getting a lot of unhealthy people, which is awesome, because, by the time people are coming to me in my one-on-one practice, they have been getting the runaround, and they're on pill after pill after pill, and they're not feeling better, and things are getting worse. And, because every medication, it only works for so long.
Yeah.
So it's honestly the most rewarding thing I have done, to be able to help people on a level and get the messages I'm getting. Like, people couldn't leave their house because of, they didn't have the energy, and so to really deal with health issues at literally the cellular level is amazing. Now, it's not for the faint of heart, because I'm spending 2+ hours with each patient. Like 4 patients a day is an 8-hour day, because there's so much involved in it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty awesome. So because of that, I created this unique way looking at gut health, metabolism, and hormone balance. And I'm now taking this huge 5-month protocol and breaking it down into a series of group programs. So this year I launched an educational platform, basically. So I have my one-on-one practice, and I'm licensed in 4 states. So I work with people one-on-one in my practice in those 4 states.
And those 4
But
states are?
Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, and Florida.
There you are, everybody.
And but with my and again, because insurance doesn't cover it, it's, you know, all cash. And
Yeah.
I'm, basically it's a concierge platform. You have access to me because you can't do this kind of intensive work really by saying, here, I'll see you in 3 months, because a
Right.
lot of it is, diet based. So I'm breaking my big program down into a series of educational programs. So
Oof.
there'll be group programs where they'll meet with a health coach, and it's pretty cool. It's really kind of cool how it kind of spins off into like educational platforms. So I have like a membership portal that you can log into, and I record a series of educational videos and teach you what you need to learn. And then we have group sessions to make sure everybody's on track. So
Uh,
it's exciting because it's a lower price point that people, can access functional medicine and functional medicine testing as well.
Yeah. I there's 2 thoughts here. The first of which, of course, is okay. I mean, I don't have a bent towards functional medicine. That is not to say I'm anti-functional medicine. I'm just saying I don't, you know what I mean? I grew up on processed foods. Let's just, you know what I mean? Like, there's my background, right? As many
Mhm.
others and all the things, blah, blah, blah. My single mom did a wonderful job
Mhm.
raising us with what she had and what she could. All that to say, so therefore it's not in the forefront of my mind. But listening to you, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to, oh my gosh, like you're inspiring me to want to, you know what I mean, look into that more. So that being said, if you're doing that to this stubborn old coot, then I know you're doing it for anyone else who might be listening. That I know there's others that are going, oh my gosh. So if listeners happen to be in those 4 states, I don't know that I have many out in those 4 states at the moment, but anyone who is listening out there are going, Lisamarie, how do I get connected? But also with your online platform and that sort of thing, where can we find you? This is all idea number 1. How do we, you know what I mean?
Well, my practice is optimal health and well-being, and the educational business is Lisa Marie NP. So lisamarienp.com, and then and that's actually where you would start. It's the start of everything.
The springboard,
Um,
as it were.
the springboard, yes. But I'm on Facebook, social media, um, Lisa Marie NP on Facebook, and Lisa Marie VNP on Instagram. And you'll see me talking all kinds of stuff. But I kind of look at, and I kind of see your point, because functional medicine, again, because you have a lot of people just trying to cram weird things down your throat sometimes.
For sure.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like to think of it as like it's common sense, but again, going back to the first episode when we were
Mm-hmm.
talking, the best healthcare is a collaborative platform. So, and this, everyone who comes to me has their PCP. I work
Yeah.
with their PCP. Um,
Mm.
and it's awesome, because for that patient to come back to me and say, okay, my doctor said that whatever you're doing is great, so keep doing it, because he's never seen my lab work look so good. So it's kind of cool. And honestly, I kind of feel like I kind of have that. You have to do better,
Yeah.
because people aren't familiar with it, and they really aren't sure how it works. And it's like, well, no, it's just kind of common
Uh-oh.
sense. We just, have to dig deep, and we work on the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
And, we work together. I'm not taking anyone off medication. I'm sending them back to their PCP, saying, okay, your blood pressure is a little low now. We need to have him or her make adjustments. Um, so I'm a huge collaborator, and I think that's the way patients get the best healthcare.
Fantastic. I'm not going to have you redo that part, and what I'm saying now is probably going to make the episode. We had in the first episode, we had our first glitch that I haven't had in over 100 episodes now, where she completely froze on my end and I completely froze on her end, and it just happened again, but only for a shorter period of time. But I said "uh-oh" in the middle of that. So if you I know that the editing on this is, I use Riverside to edit, which is great. I know there's better ways to do it. We're the most professional, unprofessional podcast around. All I want to say is, if you hear "uh-oh" in the middle of what she's saying, it has nothing to do with what she's saying. I was getting up to grab my phone to text her to say, here's a little peek behind the curtains, everybody. I was going to text her to be like, it happened again. So, yeah, uh-oh, Lisamarie. Anyway, okay, so... Ignore it if you heard it. If I can get it out, you guys are going to be like, what in the world is all this? Anyway, I don't understand. Okay, so we digressed a little bit there. But no, and I love that. And I love, too, that, you're talking about being better, getting better, so that you can be better. And I love that drive that you have. That's the kind of drive that just inspires me to continue with that drive myself. Never settling, right? Like never, you've got this amazing practice. You've got patients coming in. Sometimes there's lack of motivation for some people. Like, all right, I've made it. I've achieved. You know what I mean? Nursing students, when you become a nurse and you finally get however many years in, whatever your specialty, whatever area of nursing you practice in, you'll get a certain number of years in. You go, okay, I don't know everything, but I feel comfortable. This is great. Don't live there. Don't be tempted to live there, because that's how you become the cantankerous old nurse, right? We were talking about that. One of the reasons why. But, circling all the way back to what I was saying, there was a second thought that I had, hearing you talk about all this amazing stuff. And that's just to point out overtly to nursing student or potential, contemplative potential nursing students. And that is that here we are talking about a stellar example of how, you know what I mean? There were episodes with one Vanessa Arbuckle, who talked about how she hasn't worked a day of inpatient nursing in her life. And she's done a number of things. And fantastic. And here's yet another example of, okay, what does, I can literally go anywhere with my nursing degree. This is what this looks like. You can then, go higher, step higher, do, I don't want to say higher, I want to say more advanced degrees, which gives you more freedom, which gives you the ability to create your own business. Lisamarie's got her business that is helping people. I've got my little business that's doing its own way to help you people. And those are the things that we're just not satisfied. Like, let's just keep going. I'm still doing bedside nursing. I'm teaching students. I'm doing a podcast. Lisamarie is like, I'm going to get my nurse practitioner. I'm going to start working on my PhD. I'm going to get that PhD. And then I'm going to continue to better the health of individuals in 4 states that I'm going to guess counting, Lisamarie. I can't imagine you're going to stop there. Yeah?
No, I think I might be done.
all that paperwork in the background.
I think that's enough. We'll see how the group program goes.
I love it. All right. So anything else you wanted to share about that before we close with our traditional questions,
Lisa? Quickly, to your point, I think to all the nursing students out there, and I would guess you probably have some people who are thinking about going to nursing school, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it is a fantastic starting point. And I always recommend to people, there are still RN programs out there, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. So the extra 6 months, maybe a year it takes you to get that RN degree over an LPN degree. Now, I've worked with amazing LPNs. There's nothing against them, but
nope.
If you're putting that time and money into the education, that RN opens more doors for you, and it is a stepping stone. So if you want to do more or want to go to college or whatever, don't have the time, don't have the money, get that RN. Go to work, get some experience under your belt, and then you go on. Let them pay for it. That's the mom in me. That's one of the things I said, that it just makes so much sense, because it's a quick way to get the education, get the entry-level position, and then you can always go back and finish and build on it. Case in point. And never stop, because that's probably what kept me young. You can't see me. I might.
Oh, but they might, and we'll talk about that when we're done recording this, because there's one little ask I have of you when we're done, and it's a whole different thing, but we'll talk about that after.
Absolutely. This was awesome. Thank you.
No, that's fantastic. So we'll wrap it up. There was something else I was going to say. Gosh darn it, you made me think of something.
Sorry.
No. I was the one that squirreled off of what it was that I wanted to bring out in that. Yes, what you were saying reminded me that there are so many, quote unquote, no better words in the nursing field. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. For some, it's having an uneventful shift. So uneventful shift can sometimes be some of the better words you've ever heard, depending on, where you're practicing at and that sort of thing. But what just popped in my brain for whatever reason, nurses will tell you, every last woman, every last man will tell you, two of the best words in all of our profession are unencumbered license. An unencumbered license gives you the ability to do all of these things, whatever that license looks like. To your point about the LPNs, at least in the state of Washington, and especially my neck of the woods, but I think on the west side as well, LPNs are quote unquote falling out of favor. There's always a place for LPNs. I think LPNs and LVNs for those that are down south. I think I've heard that term down south a little bit more.
Yes.
Licensed practical nurse and licensed vocational nurse, for those that are unaware. When I was going to community college, we had the opportunity to sit for LPN exams, the NCLEX for the LPN at the year mark, and then we finished out the RN degree like you're talking about. And they still highly recommended, like, whether you're stopping at the LPN point or you're going to go on to the RN, and they had their own, education and encouragement as far as that goes. They said still sit for the exam. So if you're in one of those programs and you have the chance to do both, like Lisamarie said, I could not agree with her more fully. Go for the RN. Just push all the way through, because that will, at some point we had some more wiser, experienced nurses in their, dare I say it, 40s and 50s. Oh my gosh, how were they still alive?
Oh, no.
Says someone in their 40s and 50s. But they were joining us in our program. They were LPNs that were being forced out of their jobs. They had to go back and get their RN. So just know that just because something's a thing, it might limit you in the future. And so if you can not stop, don't stop. And if you have the opportunity to sit for the exam in the middle, go for it, because by golly, it gave me something to fall back on in case, those other 3/4 didn't work out for some reason. But the more specific reason was because then it gave you practice for the RN and NCLEX, which we all get to sit for. So on that note, Lisamarie, did I anything else pop in your brain while I was talking before we close in our traditional manner?
Nope, I'm good.
I love it. All right, then, with that, what were the 3 words you chose to describe nursing school, and why did you choose them?
Life-changing challenge. And that, it makes a nice little phrase, but it literally, nursing school alone will change who you are as a person because of what it's like a boot camp, what you endure, what you're expected to do. The bar is pretty high. I have not come across a nursing program where the bar is not high. And then, that sets you off. You will make amazing relationships, and you won't be the same person. And you should just always, always go reach for that bar and keep raising it. Because, life is a journey. Nothing stops. Nothing stops. So it's pretty cool how, at this point, the old lady looking back at things.
Wiser lady.
Yeah. I really wouldn't change. I wouldn't really change much. So embrace it and enjoy it, and, learn from the bad and enjoy the good.
Yes. And tolerate the ugly. I don't know.
Yeah. You can't do anything about that, right? You can't do anything about that. So you just have to let it roll off your back. And, okay, whatever.
There you go. And or if it really sucker punches you, feel the feels, let it out. We've talked about that. Find somebody,
100%.
you know what I mean? Yeah. And walk through that. Don't shove it down like Lisamarie was talking about. And then you become the cantankerous old, nursing home person down the road who you're just like, all these things are going to come out because you never dealt with them. So
I
don't do that to your future caregivers and family.
No. I used to tell my kids, embrace the suck. It's, you can't, there's no way but through. So, bad stuff's going to happen. You need to accept it. I think the better you are at accepting it, experiencing it, and then getting through it, it's the only way, it's the only thing you can do.
And you just said, the better you are. Oh my gosh, how do I get better at it? By doing it! That's the sucky part. It's the only way you get better. You just
you can't avoid
do it.
You can't avoid it.
Yes.
So it's like the Band-Aid. I say to patients, when we're taking away highly processed foods and their Mountain Dew, it's a Band-Aid. Do you like to rip off the Band-Aid fast or just like hair by hair? It's your choice.
There you go. Okay, so, and maybe there's overlap, maybe there's not, maybe you've already talked about it. But if there was one thing you want someone to walk away from listening to your episodes, the one thing you want them to remember, besides our positions on Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, can't wait to hear from you guys. Other than that, what's the one thing you want people to walk away from your episodes remembering?
I hope that they know that if you're a nursing student, you're doing the most amazing thing. Congratulations for being wherever you are. Just enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy it. And I hope you're inspired and, you can say, well, God, I'm going to be like that old lady and start a medical practice myself when I'm in my 50s.
There you are. And imagine how much farther functional medicine will be in, you know what I mean? Say in 30 more years.
Honestly, it's really moving into traditional medicine, I think. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
Lisamarie, I can't thank you enough. I say it to everybody, but it doesn't make it any less true. I just can't thank you enough for taking that couple hours of your time this morning and just enlightening us youngins, I should say. I can't wait to grow up someday and be like you. That's it. We're all waiting to grow up. There was a meme I just saw last night. It was this video, and it came from a movie. It was a movie clip, and I don't know what the movie was. But this older gentleman, I'm assuming is like the father of this other guy, and they're talking to each other. But the older gentleman is musing about, he said something specifically about when I was 19, I shaved my face, and all I saw back at me was the 19-year-old, and I never could not see that again. Meaning and the whole point of it was, I'm not doing it justice in any way, shape, or form, but the whole point of it was, none of us are prepared to be adults. So there's another, here's another nugget for you guys. We're in our 40s and 50s, and we're still not prepared to be adults. It's, you just kind of fake it, I guess, until you never make it, right? In that regards, we're just learning along the way.
Exactly. It's a journey, and, life is short, so enjoy it, and never, ever get old. And I'm not saying age-wise. I'm saying mentally.
Yes.
Stay young, play, have fun.
Yes. I still play video games. I still go outside. I still do the things. And you know what? It's great. That goes all the way back to episode 1. Your first episode, I mean. With hobbies. Get your hobbies. Exactly. Find your hobbies. Nourish the hobbies. And allow them to flourish you.
Yes.
Oh,
thank you. This was so much fun.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much for your time. And for those that I meant to lead off with this. Here's another blonde moment for you guys. Meant to lead off with this, but now that we're, an hour and a half later, Lisamarie, prior to this hour and a half, she and I go way back. Prior to this hour and a half, we had known each other for approximately a combined maybe 20, 25 minutes. So we're at 2 hours in our friendship here, and I'm grateful for those couple of hours. And I just hope that you remain in touch, and maybe we touch base with Lisamarie in a couple years down the road when the Feeding Our Young podcast movement is still going. So
I love it.
Awesome. Best to you, and
you.
Just keep taking amazing care of your patients and encouraging those around you.
Thank you.
Here's what's happening on the next episode of Feeding Our Young.
One of the big things that I really focus on with my students is realism. So I try and just focus on what really is going on right now. I had an incoming student ask me, what is the biggest piece of advice you would give a student before they even enter college? And I said, this is a stepping stone. Just remember that. Academia is good at something that nobody really realizes until they're in academia, and it's selling itself. So when you're in academia, everything is needed. You need to be in this club, you need to be in that club, you need a 4.0, you need to be a part of this honor society, you need this minor, that minor, you need to be an ROTC, you need to be a student athlete. All of these things need to be accomplished while you're also getting your BSN. Because that's very easy to do.
Yes.
So that is all that's just thrown at these students, and it's just thrown at them, and they just pull it all in like a sponge. And I have to sit them down and say, look, honestly, this isn't what you need to be doing. You're here to get a degree. You're here to make a career after this. You're not here to stay here forever because you've added on 5 minors.
Yep.
Realistically, you are here for a degree. And realistically, a BSN is a professional degree, and you don't need a cherry on top. You don't need that whipped cream or sprinkles, because what they're looking for is that you're not going to kill somebody when you leave this place, that you have the skills you need to make certain you don't kill people is what they're looking for. That one line on your resume that said, I participated in X, Y, and Z, they're not really going to look for that. It's great, and it rounds you out, and it gives you experience, but it's not necessary.
Did you like today's episode of Feeding Our Young? Let today's honored guest know by emailing us at thanks@feedingouryoung.org. Also, if you are a nursing student, nurse, or a nursing instructor and would like to be featured on a future episode, please email us a few details about yourself at the very special email address mystory@feedingouryoung.org. If you have a question you would like addressed in a future Q&A episode, please send it to q@feedingouryoung.org. For all other inquiries, please email us at info@feedingouryoung.org or text us at area code 509-ALL-THEM, 509-255-8436. We're so excited to have you return to hear our next honored guest. Be sure to follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Feeding Our Young LLC. Again, that's username Feeding Our Young LLC. Until next time, be encouraged and go find someone to encourage today.